If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet. Guns are blazing.
All right, so we got kicked off our last episode. We got kicked off YouTube.
You know what's really upsetting is we recorded for like 2.5 hours that night,
I
and
know.
when I edited for like 2.5 hours, and I got down to an episode that was like 2 hours and 4 minutes long. Combined time, I spent like 5 hours on that episode,
Yeah,
and then it was online for a couple hours, and then it got booted off for violating Paramount's copyright, which is BS. All news programs let you use their material because it's news, but apparently
yeah,
60 Minutes and Paramount, which Paramount we should have known better. Paramount owns The Daily Show, South Park, and The Colbert Report. And from what I've heard, like you got to be real careful with using anything from any of those shows because they'll copyright your ass.
yeah.
Luckily, we did not get a strike from YouTube, which it specifically said you did not receive a strike. So that's
We're not
good.
straight. Yeah, it took me like 2 hours to go through that interview and screen grab
Yeah.
all those and I was like this got to be okay because everybody else is doing
The
the same thing.
I think the difference is everybody else showed like a total of like 3 or 4 minutes of the interview and then talked about it. We showed 20 to 25 minutes, like spread out. Like we were doing like 2 minute clips, but there was like
Yeah.
10 or 12 of them. So, uh,
Yeah.
anyhow, touche, YouTube and Paramount. I will not make that mistake again. So,
On that note, we need you to like and subscribe if you're
yes,
not already
please.
subscribed.
No.
And
Hey,
follow us on X. That's the only thing I'm doing now is X.
uh,
Social media.
I haven't logged into Blue Sky in a while, so I have no clue what's going on over there.
Yeah,
But
I gave up on Blue Sky. And if you're watching this and you would like us to use Spotify, we can do that, but it's just kind of a pain and we're not getting any views. So we stopped doing that as
yep,
well.
scaling back. So, anyhow, before we get to all the breaking news, I do have to tell you, you should come visit me in Oklahoma soon.
Oh, why?
So I was thinking about it last night, but my kid from Halloween has like two full buckets of candy overflowing on top of the fridge. And you are notorious. Like anytime Halloween, back in the day when we both lived in the same area, like anytime it was the post Halloween, I would be like, where did Docs go all of a sudden? And I'd walk in and find you in the kitchen, all up in my kid's Halloween candy. So yeah, I just want you to know there's two full buckets that need your attention. So
Yeah, I don't
uh,
need any candy.
okay, that's what you say. Next time you're here, if that candy's still there, I guarantee you I'm going to catch you in that candy at some point. So, anywho, there was so much that happened this week. I didn't know where to start, so I figure like the obvious, like the buzz around the internet all week was on one specific topic. We're going to start with that one. Here's our first video of the night.
Judge Janine Pirot, who is, I guess, like a high-ranking member of the Justice Department now, made a literal federal case out of the guy throwing a sandwich and at a cop. And when she couldn't get a grand jury to indict him on like her federal charges, she dropped it down to misdemeanor, was able to get a misdemeanor, got the officer up there talking about how he felt the impact through his ballistic vest and he could, there were onions and mustard everywhere. And the jury looked at this and said, get the fuck out of here. It's a great day for America.
Great. It's a great day for sandwiches all across America.
So the sandwich bandit. I don't know if you remember the clip where the guy walked up to the I don't know if it was Border Patrol or ICE or whoever it was and hurled a Subway sandwich at them.
I totally do.
It turned into a 3-day trial. Like it was ridiculous for a misdemeanor. And what's funny is he clearly did it. Like there's video, he clearly did it. I think that the people of the jury are the people that live in Washington, D.C., and they are sick and tired of ICE being there and the National Guard being there. So even though he was clearly guilty, they found him not guilty, which is hysterical. So
Well, my thing is doesn't Judge Janine Pirro, what is her title now?
she is the district attorney, district attorney for the like the Virginia, like the Washington D.C. area. I can't remember the name of it.
Does she not have anything better to do than go after some guy who threw a sandwich at a ballistic
So
vest?
the fact that when this happened, like the first night it happened, the video was everywhere and everybody was cheering. I was too. It was like, yeah, he threw it. So that became
funny.
personal. Like what it is this is personal now. Like she wants to show. And like, I don't know if you remember when they raided his house, because they didn't catch him that night. They raided his house and they did like one of those dramatic videos where like ICE had a cinematographer with them and it was set to music. They made it seem like they were going going and getting like El Chapo or something, and they drug this guy out of his apartment. So this was all for theater, and they lost. It's hysterical. That's my favorite thing that happened all week.
That is a great thing.
Yeah.
That is a win for America. Do you
Totally.
think they like took the ballistic vest and like did some studies on the impact of a sandwich on a ballistic vest?
So
I mean, he felt the impact.
Stephen Colbert did it last night on his show. He used one of those cannons that launches T-shirts into the crowd, and they
Yeah.
stuffed a Subway sandwich in it and shot it at a mannequin wearing a ballistic vest.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, there wasn't much science behind it. It was just funny, but yeah, no. And the cop, they pulled the cop in, the one that had the sandwich thrown at him, and like apparently he was trying to do a real dramatic, like I felt it through my vest, I could smell onions and mustard, like it was traumatizing for him. And then the defense came out and basically had all these text messages where him and the other cops were joking about it. They were giving him like gag gifts about it, so they were able to prove that he was not in fact traumatized about this whole sandwich incident. So
Oh God.
anyhow. Best thing to happen all week.
Second
Second best.
needs to get her shit together and do something worthwhile.
So far, she's had several cases that haven't made it past the grand jury because she's trying people like on federal charges for all kinds of real misdemeanor type stuff. So it's a bad record so far. I'm just gonna say. But second best thing to happen all week, dude. The Dems kind of kicked ass on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah.
So the last time, it might have been on the episode that got pulled, so nobody might have heard me say this, but I was telling you, like, I'm a little worried, and I wasn't worried that the Dems were going to lose any of those races. I was worried it was going to be closer than it should be, which would be a bad sign for the midterms. And I was wrong. It was a blowout. The margins were ridiculous. I haven't seen recently, but I think Zoran Mandani did get over 50%. And
Yes.
he was at like 50.4, but there were still 10% of the votes to count. So I don't know where it ended up, but anyhow, Democrats and Republicans are all pissed at Curtis Sliwa, the Republican that stayed in the race. Trump and his people were trying to bribe him to drop out of the race and make it a one-on-one Cuomo versus Mamdani. I'll say this, even if he had dropped out, Mamdani still would have won, barely. It would have been really close, but he would have won like 50.5 to 49.5 or something ridiculous like that. So,
yeah.
Anyhow.
Well, and who knows how many people voted for Sliwa and would have voted for Mondami too.
Well, so that's what
Insane.
everybody's assuming, that all the Sliwa votes would have gone directly to Cuomo. But like, if you're a Republican in New York, you fucking hate, or sorry, yeah, if you're a Republican in New York, you hate Andrew Cuomo. Like most of them had Sliwa dropped out. Supposedly, a lot of them would have just not voted at that point because there's no way they're voting for Andrew Cuomo.
That makes
So.
sense.
The theory that Republicans and some Democrats are trying to make right now is that all the Sliwa votes would have gone to Cuomo and that it would have been neck and neck. I don't think that's the case. But Sliwa he got like 7%. So anyhow,
And the Republicans now are like starting to go after Mondami in a
starting
weird
to.
way.
I was gonna
What?
they were the last week and a half of the election. All of a sudden, like some real anti-Islamic sentiment started seeping out. Where like that Republican Andy Ogles, I can't remember where he's from. It's like Tennessee or Arizona or some state like that. But he was posting videos of 9/11 and saying like, "Is this what you want to vote for?" And like, they were calling him a jihadist, and it's like, whoa, like the thing is, he is a hardcore liberal. Like you can make the argument that he's never had a real job. He grew up in a rich liberal family. His family is very capital L liberal. Like they are left wingers, and like what he believes matches nothing with like the jihadist countries. The jihadist countries think that they should kill you for being gay and all kinds of very fundamental religious type stuff. Mamdani ain't that guy. Like he's
a democratic socialist.
He is, yeah. So
But
it was interesting.
Like Trump keeps calling him a communist. And like, we don't want communism in this country, and they're putting some sort of group on him to track every meeting he has.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's some group out there that's going to track all of his meetings and make sure he's not up to any jihadi.
Well, I saw that the guy's name is
meetings or anything.
Jonathan Greenblatt is like the head of the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. They used to be what I would have called a very centered, unbiased group. A lot of people on the right would have said they were a left wing, because they were always getting mad at the Republican Nazis. Like that's who they were always kind of targeting. And then in the past year or two under Trump, like they've moved really close to Trump. And it's as all the anti-Semitism with the Israel-Gaza stuff has been going on, suddenly they've slid over to where like them and Trump are buddies now, the ADL. And they said that they were putting out ads basically the day after the election saying, if you're Jewish in New York and you feel threatened or like your rights are being violated, like please contact us immediately. And Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the ADL, went on Morning Joe the other morning, and Joe Scarborough was basically lighting him up. He's like, what are you talking? Like he just announced his transition team the other day, which is all female, and like half of them are Jewish. Like it doesn't seem like he's anti-Semitic at all. Yeah. But he's not a Zionist, and like I've learned this week that's the line that a lot of people aren't familiar with, and I wasn't either. But like you can be an anti-Semite, or you can really like Jews, but be an anti-Zionist. And an anti-Zionist basically means that you don't think there should be a greater state of Israel that takes over all these Muslim Palestinian lands for the greater Israel project. Like if you're right, I like Jewish people. But I think the stuff the government of Israel is doing to try to expand their borders and take over new land, I'm against that. So from what I think I read this week, that means I'm an anti-Zionist, but I'm not an anti-Semite. I think. I could be saying that terribly wrong, and I might be getting a letter from the anti.
No, you're right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what that means.
Yeah. So
I'm on your page.
Yeah. So anyhow, back to the election. Mamdani won by about 10-ish. Spamberger in Virginia won by like 15 points, and Mickey Sherrill won by, I can't remember, it was 12 to 15 points, something like that. Hispanics are back on the Democratic side. I wonder why. Can you think of any reason why Hispanics might? Yeah.
No reason at all.
Apparently they are not down with the ICE tactics. I did pull a clip here. This is a little bit longer than the clips I normally play, but this is the Fox reaction that night and the next morning. So here's what Fox News viewers were seeing.
A big loss. You can say that these states were traditionally blue, but you can also say that heading in, there was some thought that, especially in New Jersey, that Ciattarelli would do better. The spreads here are surprising. Maybe not the results, but the spreads. And if you look inside the numbers, there are some dangerous things. One, young women overwhelmingly in New Jersey and Virginia supported the Democrat based on economy, on immigration, maybe those ICE images. The affordability push by Mamdani really sticks. And that's basically inflation and how people feel about the economy. So this dichotomy between how Wall Street's doing and how big business is doing and how you feel about it at home is something Republicans really have to look at closely. But look at this spread in Virginia. It's massive.
In particular, the swing in the Latino vote is really important. So Donald Trump made big gains. He got 46% of the vote. It swung all the way back. Mikey Sherrill got, 64% there. You're already seeing Republicans on the state level start to panic about the gerrymander plans, because that Texas gerrymander only works if you're going to get 2024 Latino margins. It does not work if it goes back to normal. So they're freaking out as Gavin Newsom is taking a well-deserved victory lap on Prop 50, which he won by an even bigger margin than his own recall. So it was, you want to make it about Mamdani, post cover, they always deliver. But the story is that moderate candidates won all over this country, and that Donald Trump and Mike Johnson have their heads in the sand, still telling us, Donald Trump today, grocery prices are down. Literally millions of people told you last night that that is not the case.
Donald Trump's policies are working. Last night, blue politicians won in blue cities. Do we need to get the messaging right heading into the midterms? Yes. But Donald Trump's methods, again, are working. Joe Biden's took us to 9.1% inflation. I've got the data, I've got the facts, and President Trump, I guarantee you, is going to share those facts in about 51 minutes.
Your takeaways. Well, look, Democrats didn't just win in blue places. They broke the supermajority in the Mississippi state legislature. They flipped seats in Texas that had never even been competed recently. They, in parts of Virginia that are deep red, the average, I think, was 6 points towards Abigail Spanberger. In New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill got a bigger margin than Governor Murphy did a couple years ago. So it's not just that we won in blue places. Democrats won all over the country. And I think a few things are clear. Number one, when Donald Trump himself is not on the ballot, his ideas don't win. And all of these candidates, look, Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, very different candidates than Zohran Mamdani. They are moderates. They worked in the national security field, but they talked about affordability.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there.
But
I got a couple points on that, but you go first.
can we keep this going through the midterms?
I think I think that's going to be up to Donald Trump, and I think
you're
the
right.
answer is yes. But that's going to okay. I got several things to say on that, so feel free to jump in and slow me down here. But what they said about Hispanics, that's so key because, like in Texas, the whole redistricting play was based off the assumption that Hispanics were going to keep voting like they did in 2024, and it appears based off last night that they are not. And like Texas thought they just gained 5 seats. And in all actuality, if things hold the same way they were last night, they might have lost those 5 seats and additionally some more. Like there's a chance.
I hope Texas goes blue. Oh my gosh.
Well, and that's different. Like so, the people that are the representatives in the United States House of Representatives, I can't think how to say this. Like if the majority of them are blue, that you wouldn't say Texas went blue at that point. Like Texas would have to vote for a governor that's blue and senators that are blue, but it'd be a start. It would make Texas purple, basically, is where it would be. So,
okay.
So that's the first key takeaway. Secondly, I'm excited for what both parties are doing right now. Republicans. So Donald Trump came out the very next day and he started saying the word affordability a lot. He said it 15 times in half the day, and he got the message, like affordability is a problem. But then within like a couple hours of doing that, it seems like he got confused about the message because now he and Kayleigh McEnany said it there. He said it today in the Oval Office, but they think this is more of a messaging problem. Like we're already doing the good thing. We're not messaging it to the people enough. Look at the stock market. The stock market's doing great. The economy's fine. This is the exact same trap the Biden administration got into. People were hurting and they were saying, hey, I can't afford groceries. I have no money left at the end of the week. What's going on? And instead of taking steps to fix the problem, the Biden administration just kept telling us that, no, the economy's great. Donald Trump's making the same mistake. And it seems like he's setting it up to where the problem is for the next year, we just have to keep telling people how good the economy is. If they're not actually going to do something about it, that's a win for Democrats. Like good luck.
And is the stock market actually doing well? Because it seems like that AI bubble is like it's bursting at the seam right now, like as we speak.
I'm not the person to talk about this, but apparently OpenAI, which is Sam Altman's company, they sent a letter to the government officially. This was like a week ago. We just found out about it yesterday, but they sent a letter to the government asking the government to back their debts. That is a huge warning sign that they think that the bubble's about to pop. So if OpenAI thinks the bubble's about to pop, and they want a bailout, like just like when we did the auto bailout in 2008 and all that, like they're going to want a bailout from the government so they don't go under. And I'll bet the government's going to do it is what the scary part is. Like I could see Trump agreeing to do this, which would be billions of taxpayer dollars going to bail out these billionaires trying to do these AI plays. So anyhow,
the stock market's weird. All day long it was down, and now I look at it as it closed an hour and a half ago, and it's the Dow Jones was up, the Nasdaq's down, but the S&P 500 was also up. So
yeah,
I don't know. The stock market's just on a roller coaster ride at this point.
The last 2 days I saw it was down, but it wasn't down like alarmingly, but it was trending down. So
it hasn't crashed yet, but it is slowly making
I think there is one thing that could happen in the next couple of weeks that would make the stock market just pop and explode and soar and help people's 401ks in the short term, but we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But I got a prediction on that. Back to what each party is doing, though, real quick. Republicans think it's a messaging deal. Awesome. Like, let them try to message their way out of this without actually taking concrete steps to fix the affordability problem. That's great for Democrats.
That's all they've done for the last 10 years is messaging. They've never done anything that was good for the American people. It's just the messaging. They say they're doing good for the American people.
I want to push back and say they had to have done something good for the American people. I just can't think of anything right now, but I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have. My mind's not in that place right now. On the Democratic side, real quick, there are a handful of Democrats on the far left and like the center left they came out right afterward. And like, if you're a far left Democrat, you were like, see, democratic socialism works. Mamdani won. This is what we need to do in every city across the country. And it's like, no. on the same note, there were centrist Democrats that were like, look at Spamberger and Mikey Sherrill, and they're very centrist, and they won big. We should be running this type of candidate in every area. And I started to get scared because I saw that, and I was like, no, like these are different places.
Yeah.
AOC, I think she said this on election night, but I didn't see the clip till the next day. But I'm going to play you a clip from her that's real short, then let's dive into this.
Our assignment everywhere is to send the strongest fighters for the working class wherever possible. In some places, like Virginia for the gubernatorial seat, that's going to look like Abigail Spamberger. In New York City, unequivocally, it is Zora Mamdani.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, you run for your district.
Most of the left has figured that out right now. Like I said, there's a couple on the extreme center and far left, but most of them, and I saw a tweet, this is a straight rip off of a tweet. I don't want to sound like I'm smarter than I am, but it said, the lesson is not that Dems should run a moderate or that Dems should run a socialist, but Dems should run candidates that are likable and match the area they are running in. And it's that simple. It's Zoran did great in New York. Zoran could only get elected in New York and like Seattle and maybe Portland and San Francisco. Like there's a very few countries where that message works. He's not getting elected mayor of 99% of the United States, but it worked there. Cool.
Sure.
I'm all about it. So
cool.
Pick the right candidate that matches that area. And sometimes here's Barack Obama was on stage last night. Do you know the guys that do Pod Save America?
Uh-huh.
So their like company is called Crooked Media, and they had something last night called Crooked Con, which they invited every leftist type podcast to come and be on stage, and it's kind of sharing of ideas and what should be our strategy. It was real interesting to watch. And they even had like people from the Bulwark and whatnot there, the Republicans Against Trump kind of crew. But at the very beginning, they're all introducing themselves. And as the last person says, like, I'm Tommy Vitor, all of a sudden, Barack Obama walks on the stage and he's like, and I'm Barack Obama. And the crowd goes nuts. And it was a neat little deal. But most of his speech was like, we have to get away from these litmus tests. Like, there might be a candidate for a purple or even maybe a light red area that's going to come in and they'll say, I'm not really a fan of abortion, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's fine. Like, he's saying what he needs to say to get elected in that area. We can't do the thing. We're like, well, no, he didn't unequivocally back transgender people in sports or whatever. Just shut up. Let that person do what's going to work in their area. It seems like the Dems are getting that right now, which they haven't. That's what killed them for like 2 elections in a row, and they're getting it.
But this was so easy to get.
But they weren't getting it.
It baffles me that this is the first time that we're just finally discovering this. Like, it's like, oh yeah, if you just run a likable candidate who has the same thoughts that all the people in that area have, they're gonna win.
Isn't it sad that they're just in 2025 they're stumbling onto this? That it's like, oh wow, you won't believe it, but apparently the candidate should match the area that they're in.
Yeah.
It's exciting because they're getting it, okay? And like I said, when you hold that up against Republicans thinking that their only problem right now is that they're not messaging hard enough, bring on 2026. I can't wait to see it. Also, the ICE budget explodes after January 1st. Because remember how the budget in the big beautiful bill had made ICE like the highest paid? None of that takes effect until January 1st. So starting January 1st, they have a whole lot more money to do operations and hire more people. And like Trump said the other night in his interview with CBS that he thinks they're not going hard enough or something along those lines. So awesome. Send the Hispanics all back to which it was Hispanics, Asians, women for sure. All men and women, 18 to 29, like all of them came running back to Democrats. So
yeah,
super. Donald Trump, by the way, the Prop 50 in California passed. That's where they're going to redistrict also. It appears Virginia is going to redistrict, and it appears Maryland is going to redistrict also. So I hate all this redistricting just overall, but Texas did it, and if the Democrats don't respond to it, then they're wimps. So I don't want it to happen. I wish every state could go back to the way it was, but you know what? They started it. Let's do this. Trump came out that night of the election and said that the Prop 50 ballot was rigged and that there's a criminal investigation going on to it. Did you see Gavin Newsom's tweet back to it?
No, I didn't.
All right, check this out real quick.
Yes, Donald, please do a serious review of this. I heard, all in caps, I heard dead people voted after being revived with a COVID vaccine. Their ballots were then blown by windmills into the hands of Mexican Antifa, who passed them to a team of trans pigeons who flew them to the ballot box. True story. Okay.
I like Gavin. And that's not even him. That's his people. He's probably got like some comedy writers writing that.
Sure.
But awesome. So in my mind, the thing that would scare me as far as the midterms would be if the Republicans saw what happened and they said, "Oh crap, like we need to focus right now on affordability and we need to knock off all the ICE raids. Those two things are playing terrible and they're costing us voters." Doesn't seem like they're going to do that at all. In fact, the day after the election, I got a quick video on this, but did you see the video of the guy who got pulled out of his car with his toddler in the back seat?
No, I didn't.
Check this out real quick.
The one that specifically I'm thinking about is the one that he himself, the governor of California, was sitting watching this broadcast yesterday and sent a text to my cell phone with a video of a raid from Los Angeles, which I think we have, at Cypress Park Home Depot. I've talked to you from that very Home Depot before. It's around the corner from my house. Look at inside this car. They took a U.S. citizen father out and left a toddler in the back seat. Two heavily armed Border Patrol agents got in that car and drove the child and the vehicle away. Homeland Security says that father had a pistol in the car, threw rocks at law enforcement, yet he was later released, and the child was returned to the family. Lawyers are saying if there was anything to that story, why didn't they take the kid and lock the father up? And Gavin Newsom wrote to me, "I am shaking. He's sick. I'm sick. Our country is sick."
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole video to that, you can find it on Twitter very easily, is about 6 minutes long. And the only reason I didn't pull it is because the child's face is not blurred, and I feel like that's probably the right thing to do. But I don't know how to blur a video.
Sure.
But they got him out of the car. They're up against the car, searching him and all that. And at one point they get in and there's like a bouncy ball type thing. It's like the size of a volleyball kind of, but it's a soft one. And they're searching the front of the car and they toss it into the back seat right into the kid's face. Kid's like a year old. I don't think it hurt the kid, but also it's like, hey, there's a kid in the car. Okay, whatever. So they keep doing all their stuff, and then they're standing there like, you can't hear what the ICE agents are saying, but they're standing there kind of arguing. And then one of them finally gets in, like adjusts the driver's seat, gets in. Another one gets in the passenger seat, and they just take off in the car with the guy still standing there. His baby's in the back. They just drove off. Now,
That's kidnapping, right?
I talked to a cop friend of mine, and if a police officer has that happen, they have to call Child Protective Services. Somebody from CPS will come and assume responsibility for the child. Police officers, they don't want the liability. You don't do that. Like, no matter what,
kidnapping.
There's never a situation where the cop leaves the scene with the child. Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Anyhow, they took off. They took off with the kid. They threw the guy into a van, took off with him. Notice in the clip there, they said they released him later that day and returned the baby to him. Okay. There is a lady that we need to start paying more attention to. Her name is Trisha McLaughlin, and she's like an assistant to Stephen Miller. Like, she's just as bad. It's like she's Stephen Miller in training, okay? There's been a couple times where something will come out, and it's like, oh my God, that's horrific. Look what ICE did. And then she always comes out with a tweet right away where she's like, oh, you're not telling the whole story. That citizen, and she makes it sound like ICE was very much within their rights. But then later you find out they just released the guy with no charges. This is the best example of that so far. Check out this tweet from Trisha real quick. So the down below, Brittany, I can't say that name, Maja. I can't speak Spanish. She's basically saying that, you know, exactly what we just talked about. They pulled the guy over, took his kid and drove away. She says, oh, FFS sake, Brittany, which I'd like to point out grammatically is not right. FFS stands for fuck's sake. So what she said is, oh, for fuck's sake, Brittany. Anyhow, this is a little point of mine. She said, the U.S. citizen left his own child unattended in a car and proceeded to attack law enforcement as they were conducting an operation. He exited his car wielding a hammer and threw rocks at law enforcement as he abandoned his child. He was arrested for assault, and during his arrest, a pistol was found in his car. That is reported stolen out of New York State. He has an individual has an active warrant for property damage. That doesn't make sense. Law enforcement rightly looked over the child until they were safe in the safe custody of a guardian. So she said there that he got out with a hammer, wielding a hammer, threw rocks. He has a warrant out for his arrest, and the pistol is stolen, is what she said in that tweet. Yet they released him a couple hours later with no charges.
Yeah.
She's just fucking lying. Like,
no, totally.
And this is not the first time. I now follow her, and I kind of went through her Twitter last night, and like this is all she does. Every time there's a story of oh my God, look at the horrible thing ICE did, she comes out and tries to defend it, and she's always full of shit.
What do the comments say about that?
I did not look at actually, you know what? I did look at the comments on several of them, and you can tell that only MAGA people follow her because they were all like, "Get him!" Like, yeah, America. Like it was that kind of thing.
Okay, so we should all get on her Twitter and like fight back against this.
Trisha McLaughlin. So,
like, why would they release him? What's her name?
Trisha McLaughlin.
Trisha McLaughlin. Okay,
TRICIA.
TRICIA. Okay, yeah, I'll follow her and I'll start chiming in when I can.
If any of that was true, if he had a stolen gun and a warrant for his arrest, they're not releasing him a couple hours later with no charges. Like that's such BS. Anyhow, also, since we brought up Stephen Miller had a tweet either that night or the next morning where he said that like 50% of New Yorkers live in a household with at least one immigrant. And then he went on to say like 62% of New York children live with an immigrant or whatever. And he was making it sound like that's the problem with New York. That was the underlying theme was like these people are all in with the immigrants and that's the problem. Well, let's remember real quick that Trump and all of his kids are in that stat because Melania, and if you want to go back before Melania, his wife before that, I think was Canadian. I'm not really sure what she was or no, you know what? Marla Maples
from the Eastern European bloc.
So Marla Maples was wife number 2, and I think she might have been American, but the first one, Ivanka, was Eastern European. So okay, let's talk about families with one immigrant and kids living in households with immigrants. That's Donald Trump for most of his life in New York. Anyhow, sorry, I had to get that out. Steve Bannon said something that makes me really want to get out the vote. I think we need to take a second and appreciate what Steve Bannon's doing to drive the Dems to the polls in 2026. Check this out.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
I'll take him up on that. Let's win the midterms, and then Stephen Miller and Bannon and a bunch of people can face. And here's the deal. I don't think that either side should just go locking people up because they're on the other side. But if you've committed crimes, then I don't care. And I think this extends to the president. If you've committed crimes, you're going to be accountable for those crimes once you leave office. I wish it would happen while they're in office, but it's not gonna.
And somebody's recording every single crime that Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, and everybody else in that administration is doing.
The only thing is, I think that technically, I think you could make an argument that Trump is just doing a lot of bad shit. I don't, it's one of those where Nixon famously said well, if the president does it, then it's not against the law because the president makes it. I know, but I'm just saying I don't think a lot of what Trump's doing in office would hold up in court, even though it's terrible and it should be a crime. I don't think it would hold up. Now, Stephen Miller doesn't have that protection.
Yeah, but the president has to answer for something, right?
The way it's written is that should be impeachment. If high crimes and misdemeanors, he should get impeached. If the Dems retake the House, they're going to impeach him almost automatically, and then he's not going to get voted out in the Senate. So I'm one of the people, honestly, where I'm kind of like, hey, why are we wasting our time with the impeachment? Because he's not going to get voted out. But what it does is it bogs him down and makes it to where he can't focus on other things. So it just distracts him for a while.
Yeah. I was watching some of the House and the Senate stuff, and they address the president. He's not there, right?
No, I think sometimes they're talking about the president of the Senate or whatever, because there is there's a president
of the Senate.
I don't know, but there's a president and a president pro tempore, whatever that word is that I should know.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I was wondering. I was like, because they're always like, Mr. President, and I'm like, Trump's not there.
Now, if it's the Democrats, then they're grandstanding and making a speech, and they want the president to eventually see that. That's probably what you're seeing.
Maybe.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's all I got on the election. Do you have anything else to cover from the Democrats' Great Night Tuesday?
No, I'm just excited, man. I've been stoked for the last couple of days. Okay, this is great. We won. We did something.
Democrats don't get good news very often, so it's kind of weird. It's like, holy God, things went well for the Democrats. This hasn't happened in a couple years, so soak it all in. Yeah. Now things are going to get worse right away, so just enjoy this for a couple days, and then things are going to get bad again. But right now, it's a good week to be a Democrat. So
okay, yeah, I'm excited.
There was one thing I think that Donald Trump did take out of Tuesday night that was the completely wrong message, but How many people do you think voted blue or stayed home because they were mad we're not in enough foreign wars?
0.
I think Donald Trump thought that's part of the problem is that we're not doing enough militarily. He came out on Tuesday.
No.
He
No.
He's been doing these, which I don't get it, but they set him up where he's in like kind of a dark room. I'm very mad that this is a daytime recording because you can see my background, but I like a dark room behind me. But they set Trump up at like a dark background at a like wooden podium, and they do these videos. And there's going to be a cut or two in this video I'm about to play. That's not me. Like it's like he can only say 1 or 2 lines at a time, and then they have to cut. So it's like they're splicing it all together. But this is the very next morning after the midterms. Trump came out, and there was a lot in this little video speech he does. But this is the important part I want to take a look at. Check this out.
We're going to do things to Nigeria that Nigeria is not going to be happy about and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible, horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attack our cherished Christians.
He's a crazy person. He is a crazy person.
He said if we attack, it's going to be fast, vicious, and sweet. What does that mean? Like fast, vicious, and sweet? I don't know.
He's a crazy person.
He started off, dude. He started off by saying we're going to go in there guns a-blazing, is what he said.
Yeah.
Just because he's the president, like I feel like if that was Obama, he would say we are fully prepared to conduct a military operation to liberate the blah, blah. Like it'd be very technical. We're going to go in there guns a-blazing. It'll be fast, vicious, and sweet.
There's no president or prime minister or anything around the world that talks like him. Like,
do you think there's any voter that stayed home or voted against Trump on Tuesday night that saw that the next day and they were like, "Oh yes, he's back. Okay, I wasn't going to vote for him, but now like I don't know who that's helping, but also that real quick, and I don't know enough about Nigeria to really get into this, but from what I've seen, yes, Christians are getting killed over there and Muslims are getting killed over there. There's a civil war. There are some militant groups and they are killing everybody. In fact, more Muslims have been killed over there in the last year than Christians have been killed. But Trump saw a report on Fox News that Christians are being slaughtered by a militant Muslim group, and that's all he needed to see. That group is not like, they're not going around seeking out Christians and killing them. They're killing everybody in every village on the other side. Some of them are Christians, some of them are Muslim. That's what's happening in Nigeria.
It's not a war against a certain religion. It's just a all-out slaughter.
It is. It's an all-out slaughter. And I'll say this, if our government said, hey, innocent men, women, and children are being slaughtered in Nigeria, and we need to go over there. We need to do something. We need to try to stop it, whether it's sending boots on the ground or airstrikes or diplomacy or whatever, but like we need to get involved. I agree with that. I'm 100% agree with that. But he's turned this into a religious war. Like the Muslims are slaughtering the Christians, and we got to go protect the Christians. Like, no, innocent people are dying. That's what's happening over there. And it's also Muslims dying. Let's do something about all of it, is my thought.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just a crazy person. This is the problem, is we have a crazy person running the world right now. And I don't know. We're going to go to war with Venezuela. We're going to go to war with Nigeria, maybe Mexico, Canada, Greenland. I don't know. Who are y'all going to war with now?
Right now, I think it's just realistically Venezuela and Nigeria. And Venezuela is starting to look like it's not going to happen. So last week, they finally briefed the senators on what was going on in Venezuela. And at first, they held a briefing just for the Republicans. And the Democrats were freaking pissed. And even several of the Republicans came out and said, hey, no, like, we can't do this. When the Democrats get in power, they're going to cut us out. Can't do it. So then, like, the next day, they had a separate briefing for just the Democrats. So they ended up briefing them all. Thank you to some Republican senators that kind of stood up and said, no, you can't do this. Anyhow, before the first one of all the Republicans, it was supposed to be DOJ officials and the DOJ attorneys. The thing that the senators were really interested in is what is the legal case, the legal rationale that says we can be bombing them without an authorization of war from Congress. That's basically what they wanted to know. I guess like 30 minutes before that briefing, the DOJ announced that the lawyers would not be coming. The reporting is that the lawyers don't feel comfortable trying to make a case that they have any legal justification to be bombing the boats in the Caribbean or especially airstrikes within Venezuela, which is what Trump's talking about. Apparently, That was last week. Apparently, sometime early this week, there was another briefing where they flat out said, well, our lawyers don't think we have the legal justification to drop bombs inside of Venezuela. So for now, we're just going to keep it at the boats, which I'll give them a little bit of credit for at least being honest and saying that, because we've all known that. But at least they came out and told the senators. So it looks like we're going to keep blowing up.
Is crazy too. I mean, that's an act of war. You're just murdering more than likely innocent people. There's no evidence that these guys are carrying drugs.
Well, it's funny. Remember, we were counting for a while. We were like, is that the fourth boat we've blown up, or that's the fifth?
8 or something now?
So, no, he's blown up like every other day. We're blowing up a boat, and now it's not getting talked about. Like, I follow Pete Hegseth on Twitter, so I just see every other day he's like, at the president's direction, we conducted a military operation in the South Pacific and blah, 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 and whatever. We're still doing it. We've moved on. Like, as a country, like, okay, the boats are getting blown up. We're not paying that much attention anymore. So, sorry, that's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely illegal. So Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump could go to jail for that.
So, and
murder.
also,
I mean, isn't that just murder, basically?
Do you know anything about the Nuremberg trials?
I've heard of them. I'm not sure exactly.
Okay.
Is that the atomic bomb?
No. So the Nuremberg trials were after World War II. They took place in a city called Nuremberg, Germany. And I'll tell you right now, if you have questions, I probably can't answer them. I know a little bit about this, but the main thing to come out of the Nuremberg trials was there was a lot of Nazis that ended up getting like the death penalty for like crimes against humanity. And they tried to claim we were following orders. We were just following orders. And the major precedent that the Nuremberg trials put out is that just following orders is not an excuse. If you're given an unlawful order to kill civilians and you do it, you are going to be punished. So that's been legal precedent across the world ever since 1947 probably is when that was, 47 or 48. So we have people in our military right now that are launching strikes on boats in the Caribbean because they're being ordered to. Like, those people could possibly be in jeopardy. The guy that was the commander of, it's called the Southcom Area of Responsibility. It's basically the Caribbean. He resigned his post after only being there for a year. And supposedly, according to sources, it's because he realized he could get in trouble for what they're doing down there because they have no legal justification to do it. He got himself out of there. So everybody from Hegseth on down could face some kind of trouble just because, like I said, following orders is not an excuse, according to the Nuremberg trials. So, anyhow.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, I mean, they should be scared. Hopefully, military personnel start dropping out left and right, and it's probably not going to happen, but.
And that's scary, too, because, just in case shit goes wrong, we need to have an army that's prepared and well-staffed and all that. So I don't want our whole army to just start quitting. That would be scary. I think there are certain countries like, China, Russia, Iran that would see that happening and think, ooh, let's capitalize on this. And maybe not to strike us, but to strike our allies because they know we're in no position to come to their defense. So I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Anyhow, I did one of the most interesting and boring things I've done in a long time on Wednesday morning. It might have been Thursday morning. I sat and listened to 3.5 hours of oral arguments in front of the Supreme Court the other day. You can't see a picture. All you see, it's like a picture, like a still picture of who's talking, so this justice or this lawyer. And I listened to 3.5 hours of the oral arguments on the tariff case. I kind of wanted to hear what both sides were saying. I'll tell you right now, and I don't know if it's going to be a couple weeks or when we would possibly get a ruling on this, but it seems like it's either going to be 7-2 or 6-3 in favor of getting rid of the tariffs, saying that Trump does not have the legal authority to do the tariffs. There were 2 Republican justices that seemed like they really wanted to support Trump on this, and then the other 4 were not really on board, and it came through in their questioning. So, and it's unconstitutional. Like, we've talked about this. In fact, I'm not even going to try to talk about it. I want to let an ally of ours that you would never suspect be an ally on any issue, but I want to let this person do the talking real quick.
Okay.
Ben, the president has won something like more than 20 cases that have come up to the Supreme Court. Do you see this as a time after sort of hearing some of the questions that are being asked where the idea of more presidential power for this president in this case won't fly?
Well, I mean, I think that one of the characterizations of the court that I always find suspect is when people say, even the conservatives on the court are saying this. Okay, the conservatives on the court tend to be textualists, which means that they're actually looking at the text of the Constitution as opposed to sort of a vague peripheral understanding of what the Constitution means. And so when you're looking at the textualists, and they are saying the president does not actually have emergency authority to simply impose tariffs on the basis of trade deficits, which is essentially what he's been doing, that is a very conservative position. I've been critical of the president, very critical of the president on his tariff policies themselves, which I think are actually economically wrong and I think are actually damaging to the country in a lot of ways on foreign policy, actually. But that's not what's at issue. The issue here is whether the president has the emergency authority to do this sort of stuff. And I thought that the best question that was asked came from Justice Gorsuch, in which he actually said to the lawyers for the president, if, let's say, the next president decides that on the basis of emergency authority, that climate change is an emergency, and therefore he's going to slap, or she is going to slap a 50% tariff on all automobiles coming into the country, would that president have the authority to do this? And the attorney for the president, President Trump, said yes, they would have the authority to do this. I do not believe that the court, I've said this since literally day one when President Trump announced Liberation. I said that day, this is illegal. The Supreme Court is going to strike this down. He does not actually have the constitutional authority to do this.
And the fact that anybody's arguing differently is shocking to me. Like if we just want to look at the Constitution and what it says, all taxes have to start with the Congress. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, who would make any other argument than that?
Well, and I think I heard one of the judges say that it is actually a tax on the American people, and then all taxes have to go through Congress, right? Is that what you're...
Yeah, so taxes are, the way it says in the Constitution is it's supposed to originate in the House and then go to the Senate, and then the president signs it into law. Okay, I guess
any
you
taxes.
Any taxes whatsoever. So
okay.
Anyhow, yeah, he's got. If somehow the Supreme Court comes out and says yes, he can do this, it'll be a joke at that point because that's 100% not what the Constitution says.
Yeah, I still disagree with Ben Shapiro on 99.9% of issues, but he was right on. I think he's good about this one.
A quick note, that's I think that's Abby Phillip on CNN, and I've been seeing clip after clip. She has got an interesting panel the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you saw, Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks is sitting right beside Ben Shapiro. Like, how does that dynamic work out? Like, how are they not just strangling each other the whole time? But like, they see from the clips I've seen, they're cordial and they seem to be like, there's some things they agree on. Like, it's very interesting.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. It makes me, I don't watch TV I don't watch news that late anymore, but it makes me want to start DVRing that one just for the panel. I just want to see what they're saying.
I'd like to see them debate the Dark Force.
You know what? I think it has happened. I've seen clips on that, but it wasn't worthy enough for us to pull. But yeah, it's happened. And then the only other part of tariffs I want to talk about real quick is, did you see, and we don't have official government job numbers, but there's some private sector places that have been keeping tabs on the job numbers. Sorry to keep hitting you with videos, but check, this is from CNBC. CNBC is very pro-Trump, okay? Check this out real quick.
About the health of the job market. Steve Leisman joins us with the latest numbers from Challenger on job cuts. What's going on?
Yeah, well, this is like a clue from like a cough or a sneeze or whatever. But announced corporate job cuts, Andrew, in the U.S. surging past 1 million so far this year, with 153,000 new layoffs announced just in October, according to Challenger. That is the worst October since 2003. Here are the numbers. October up 153. That compares with September. That's 100,000 more than September and 100,000 more than this time last year in October 2024. Andy Challenger commenting, some industries are correcting after the hiring boom of the pandemic, but this comes as AI adoption, softening consumer and corporate spending, and rising costs drive belt tightening and hiring freezes. Announced layoffs don't always lead to actual cuts and could take place from attrition, but the report puts in perspective what we've been reporting here day after day, week after week. Series of marquee announcements unveiled in recent weeks across U.S. industries, including UPS, Amazon, Target, among others, Paramount, Rivian, all these companies there. Government has been responsible year to date for 308,000. But look at that, tech 141. That could be where you see a lot of the AI, maybe some in warehousing, but a big chunk of that's going to be UPS, as well as potentially some hit from reduced flows of trade. Retail's up there, as is services at 64,000. You take out the Doge cuts, the number's a bit better at 800,000, but still well above last year. Challenger doesn't see much in the way of hiring, saying announced plans are 35% below last year, and they're skeptical about the number of new hires for the holiday season.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's our worst year of jobs since 2003. That's 22 years. Okay. Also, consumer sentiment hit a record low. It hasn't been this low since 2009, which was after the housing bubble burst and all that. So consumer sentiments at a 16-year low, jobs are at a 22-year low. I sent you a graph on manufacturing, but it shows the first Trump presidency, manufacturing jobs were pretty flat. They went down a little bit, then back up, stayed kind of baseline. As soon as Biden gets elected, they take off and they jump incredibly until Trump gets elected. And the second Trump gets elected, they start nosediving back down again. So Trump and all this talk about bringing manufacturing jobs back, he didn't do it in his first term. And so far, 9 months in, we're losing manufacturing jobs with his tariffs, which he thinks his tariffs are going to bring the jobs back. Not happening.
So Trump is bad for manufacturing.
It would appear so. I know he says all the time, his messaging says that he's good for manufacturing, but it appears that he is not. And then
that's what we were talking about, is their messaging doesn't reflect what they actually do.
Yeah, they're good at it though, because like we've talked about it a whole bunch, but like, well, Republicans are better for the economy. You hear that everywhere. Since World War II, that is not the case at all. Like, it's not even close. But if you ask any random person, they'll go, well, I know that Republicans are better for the economy, blah blah blah. They're not. It's not.
I think I had to shine that light on to you.
You did. That was like a year ago. You showed me some stats, and I was shocked to admit that, wow, like job creation, GDP, like every metric you can look at.
Employment, every metric, the Democrats are better for jobs.
Yeah, and most often, and especially the past 4 or 5 presidents, the Republican hands off a crap economy to the Democrat, who then fixes it and hands off a very good economy to the Republican. And anyhow. So,
and then they destroy it again. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, and we're not going to get into oligarchs here, but Elon Musk got a new Tesla pay package. Did you see this the other day?
$1 trillion.
So if he hits all of his benchmarks, which I've seen a couple things to say that he can't, there's no way he's going to hit all the benchmarks. But if he does hit all the benchmarks, he's going to make $274 million a day for the next 10 years. Okay. It's times like these that the whole like tax the rich thing, I'm like, that's an easy sell right now. Like Elon could potentially make $274 million a day for 10 straight years. How is that going to happen without Tesla just going bankrupt? Like, is Tesla going to make that much money in the next 10 years? I don't see how.
No, stop buying Tesla. Everybody, stop buying Tesla. Let's not let Elon Musk make $274 million a day. Like, this should be a worldwide like conglomeration of like boycotting Tesla.
Am I missing anything? How does that work? There's no way that Tesla's profit is $274 million a day. What does Tesla, the company, make per day?
That's Tesla daily profit is what I'm putting in. Tesla Inc. stock price.
I don't think we can find out what was their quarterly profit. Can we figure that out?
Probably.
I'm sure everybody loves when we hit these parts of the show where we just start Googling.
Right.
Quarterly earnings. Hold on.
Okay.
All right. AI is coming to the rescue here. 28.1 billion, which it was predicted to be 26.3 billion. And that's
their annual gross profit for 2024 was 17.45 billion.
I don't even want to try to do them. I don't know how many zeros are in a billion. But I guess maybe that means they can afford to give him $274 million a day.
It's a trillion. No, it's a trillion over 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure this is part of the math here is they're expecting that they're going to keep growing and making more money every year over year.
1 billion, 1 trillion divided by 10. That's $100 billion a year. That's $100 billion a year. Yeah.
So 100 billion divided by 365.
See, the fact that we don't work with numbers this large on
I can't even fathom. I have no clue how many zeros are in 100 billion.
Like no 1 trillion divided by 10, we should automatically know it's 100 billion.
Hold on.
But we don't work with this large of numbers.
I want to put something in the test real quick. Give me 2 seconds here. This is why AI is going to save me.
So,
what was the number real quick? Was it how many billion? 100 billion?
100 billion a year, but they only make 17 billion They only made 17 billion last
Hey, what's
year.
100 billion divided by 365?
That's a big calculation. 100 billion divided by 365 is approximately 273,972,602.74.
So
Are you working on a
no, if you rounded that up, would that basically be 274 million?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, if you round 270.
Okay, got it. So that's exactly what their daily, assuming that they don't grow in sales, which they will grow in sales. But so he's wanting he wants 100% of their daily profit is where we're at.
This is more than 100%. He wants 500% of their daily profit.
So
he wants
weird.
500% of their daily profit. So you
Okay.
can't. They can't. This is going to put Tesla out of business. Or I'm guessing that the majority of it is going to be Tesla stock, right? He's going to get it all in Tesla stock, which means they're going to have to open up more stock for Tesla, which is going to drop Tesla stock down even further, which is going to make their shareholders mad.
And more importantly, and I'm not an economist, I'm not an accountant, so I don't know exactly how this works, but if you take your payment as stock, that is an unrealized gain, so you don't have to pay taxes on it. So
that's why he doesn't pay taxes. That's why none of these billionaires pay taxes, is because all their gains are in unrealized gains. Yeah.
That's so weird. And then also, I saw this the other day. Meta, who owns Facebook, they earned more last year in ad revenue only from the ads that are straight scam. You ever see like websites where it's like, hey, we're selling this thing on Facebook, and you click on it, and it seems totally fishy. I've never gone through all that. But apparently ads that they know are scams. They know it, and they still let them post their ad because Meta wants money. They made more on just the scam ads last year than the entire NFL made in ads during their games across all the different channels.
They're supporting scam artists, huh?
They're totally, and this was a bombshell that just came out from like Reuters today. And Mark Zuckerberg's probably going to be pulled in front of the Congress at some point to talk about this. But they, according to this article, they know that these are scam websites, but because they want the money, they're still letting them advertise on Facebook. And then people are getting ripped off in all kinds of ways, apparently. Like when I saw an ad today for like a Benchmade knife that is normally $270, but through this website, it's only $30. And like as soon as I saw that, I was like, no, like I'm not even clicking that link. Like nope, not doing it.
So if you buy it, does they just keep the money, or do they send you some cheap?
Either way, I don't know. There's probably some that do both. There's different companies that do different versions of it, I'm sure, but it's a straight scam. So
straight scams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow. Fight the oligarchy, tax the rich. I'm fully on board with that right now.
Tax the rich.
All right, so I've been wanting to talk about this meeting the whole time. Trump had an Oval Office event yesterday with Dr. Oz and RFK and a whole bunch of pharmaceutical executives. Did you see this meeting at all?
I only saw the feint, and I don't even know who that guy is.
Okay. The feint's coming. That's a couple steps down the road here. First of all, while Dr. Oz was speaking, and there's been several examples of this recently, Trump can't seem to stay awake during these different events he does unless he's the one talking. As soon as somebody else starts talking, there's compilations of pictures of him like slunched over in his chair. The tell is we can tell when he's resting his eyes versus when he's actually falling asleep. Remember at the 9/11 memorial when the right side of his face was kind of drooping? That's when he actually falls asleep. His mouth kind of. There are pictures yesterday of him legit sleeping. You can tell when his face everything starts drooping. So he's not holding it in place.
It's weird that it's only droops on one side. That's like a stroke victim thing, right?
Still weird. But real quick, this clip is really short, and don't even pay attention. You can if you want, but you don't have to pay attention to what Dr. Oz is saying. At the very beginning of the clip, the angle that they're shooting it from, you see Trump in the background, and like. It's not like he's sitting up and kind of passed out. He's like slunched over in his chair, just out cold. Watch this clip real quick and just pay attention to Trump in the background.
People can sleep again because they can breathe as when they go to bed. Folks whose knees don't hurt. People who don't have heart attacks, renal failure, dementia, all the things we know are associated with obesity and much more.
It looked like he was asleep there, didn't it?
Completely sleeping.
I sent you a picture. You don't have to pull it up, but They got several still shots of him, and you can see there the right side of his mouth is kind of curved down a little bit. He's out like a light right there.
Oh yeah. So that's in that same meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. He's out. there's a whole bunch of pictures. And at one point he woke up and he started like rubbing his eyes, which is a telltale sign that he was out cold. Anyhow,
so the leader of our country can't even stay awake for a meeting.
all I'm going to say here is we heard about Sleepy Joe for I don't know how long. Like, if Joe Biden fell asleep during an event in the Oval Office, it would have been all over the media.
Oh, yeah.
Trump was either, let's be charitable, either he was resting his eyes for a while or he was asleep. But the media is not really saying much about it. Like, he was, in my mind, that man was asleep right there. But okay. Well,
yeah, Fox News would have covered it all day long. Joe Biden fell asleep in a meeting. And crickets. There's crickets when Trump falls asleep.
Like I said, this isn't the first event he's fallen asleep at. Like, there's been several that we've just like, is Trump asleep right there? The meeting went on a little bit longer.
Sleepy on.
The best part of the meeting for sure. We're going to play this clip. I'm going to set it up a little bit, but there's a guy, and I can't remember his name, but he's a pharmaceutical CEO, and he's an older guy, and he starts to pass out while he's standing up. Apparently, he's totally fine. I don't know what happened, but he's fine. Everything's good. But the second he starts to pass out, I just want you to focus on RFK. Okay, RFK is standing behind the speaker to the right. Just watch RFK's reaction to this.
Creating high-value jobs. But today, we... Oh, you okay? Gordon, you okay? Yeah.
We're going to break away for just a moment as the White House...
Okay.
So... The press left the room, so we don't know where RFK went, or we don't know. He maybe came running back in with a doctor several seconds later.
That's what I maybe he went and grabbed the White House
maybe
doctor.
did. It's just the look on his face. Like, as soon as the guy fell down, he was like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here," and he just went out the door. Like, and they do say if somebody has a medical event and you're not trained to help, get out of the way. Like, don't get you can't help, get back. So maybe he was doing the right thing. It was just funny that it was like. Maybe he's the quickest guy on his feet in the world. And maybe as soon as he saw it, he was like, I know where the doctor's room is. Let me go get the doctor. Maybe he sprinted down to get the doctor. I don't know for sure. It was just like optically, it was funny that the guy started to faint and RFK was just like, peace. I'm out the door. Did you see what Trump did as they were trying to revive this guy?
He was just standing there.
Dude, yeah. He just stood up and like, he looked depressed. He looks like it's been a long week. His shoulders are down. He's just like, he got his ass kicked on Tuesday night at the votes. Didn't try to help at all. Just stood up and watched the press leave. Who knows? Maybe once the press left, he turned and walked over there and said, "Hey, you all right?" or whatever. But he stood there for a couple minutes like that. They have several pictures of him. This is my favorite picture because he's looking directly into the camera.
That's a good one. He is just staring into the camera like a zombie.
Things have not gone. You know how I can tell things haven't gone well for him? He's not nearly as orange as he used to be. Like in that picture, especially, like his face, his hair. Remember, his hair he was coloring it for a while. His hair is just white now, and he's not using as much bronzer anymore. So something's going on there.
Yeah. I wonder. Maybe he got a new makeup artist, a better makeup artist.
I don't know. He's not looking good.
Everybody calls him like the orange whatever,
Yeah, orange man bad.
Orange man bad.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that was. And then the other thing, and I didn't pull a clip of this. Every Late Show and the Daily Show all did a great job. But at one point, Dr. Oz said that because this whole event was about GLP-1 drugs, which are like as Trump calls it, the fat shot. Take the fat shot and you lose weight. Which at one point he was going around the room like asking, like, Kevin, are you on the fat shot? And then there's one other guy where he's like, I can't remember the guy's name. We're gonna say it's Dan, but he's like, where's Dan? Is Dan not in here? Dan's on the fat shot, and it's like that's. I don't know if that's a HIPAA violation, but I'm sure Dan wouldn't want all of America to know that he's taking the fat shot.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
well, it's just another lazy American thing. Like, go exercise.
What's weird to me is I know some Maha people. I have a Maha person in my family, and like a year and a half ago, they were very against Ozempic and they were saying, I remember she was telling me it causes like stomach paralyzation and all these other health issues, and like don't use that at all. And then RFK came in, and he's been pushing these, Ozempic and GLP-1s, and now all of them are just kind of on board. And I'm like, well, hold on, like, were y'all wrong back then? Did you get some new evidence, or like? what's the sudden change? Is it just because RFK is now saying it's good that we're all going to be okay with it? I don't know the first thing about it. I couldn't tell you if they're good or not. A member of my wife's family has lost like 100 pounds on one of those GLP-1 drugs, and she seems to be doing good. I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, but what do we know about shortcuts?
Yeah, you pretty much have to keep taking the shot for life, I'm guessing, or if you stop taking it, are you going to balloon right back up? Like, I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm the last guy to talk about this. I haven't studied it at all, but Dr. Oz said at one point that between now and the midterms, Americans combined are going to lose 350 billion. Was that the right number? Whatever it was like 350 billion pounds that are and everybody did the math on that, and it turns out that every American would have to lose 393 pounds for that to be right. So just one of those.
Hey, let's all lose 300 pounds. It'd be
It's
great.
like Pam Bondi. Remember a couple of years, it feels like years ago, but a couple months ago when she was like, President Trump has taken enough fentanyl off the streets to save, and it was like 25 million people. And then every time she told it, the number got bigger. And at one point she was like 300 million people. And it's like, hold on, wait. So that fentanyl would have killed everybody in America? Like, what are we doing here? Anyhow, so.
Oh, we live in strange times, Andy.
We do. I've only got two things left, and they're more of my fun blue and on conspiracy type stuff. Do you have anything you'd like to get out?
No, yeah.
Okay.
You called me today and told me you're like, I got so much stuff, don't do anything.
I was afraid I was going to come to the table with all this, and then you were going to have a whole bunch of this to be a 4-hour episode. So,
well, after 60 minutes screwed us over, I was like, I'm not spending all that time. But yeah,
I understand. Okay, moving on to the fun stuff. All right, so there's a fun, like, I don't want to call it a civil war on the right, but there's a civil skirmish going on the right. There's different factions of the GOP that are not getting along right now. Have you been paying attention to any of the Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens versus Mark Levin and Ted Cruz type battle that's going on?
No, I've been kind of skipping over all that.
So I've been paying too much attention to it, as I tend to do, but it's pretty interesting. Right now, Megyn Kelly, I believe last night, hosted some big event on stage with a full audience, and she had Tucker on at one point and was asking Tucker about, she was saying like, hey, a lot of people are upset that you platform Nick Fuentes and you kind of went easy on him. And Tucker's answer was like, well, then you interview him. If you don't like the way I interviewed him, then you interview him and do it the way you want. I'm going to do it the way I want. Later in that same event, she had Ben Shapiro on, and Ben Shapiro was getting onto her for not getting onto Tucker more. And at one point, she was like, "Well, she's like, I'm not the internet's mom." So, and he was like, "No, that's bullshit." And like, kind of interesting to see him say that to Megyn Kelly. But so they're duking it out right now. For anybody who doesn't know who Nick Fuentes is, I have one little clip to just kind of give you the flavor of Nick Fuentes.
Oh,
all right,
God.
Yeah, check this out.
You can call me a Nazi. You better be careful. Because if I'm a Nazi, then there's millions of young people that are following a fucking Nazi. So you better be careful about those words. You're saying I'm a Nazi, I'm a monster. There's a million monsters then. There's a million Nazis out there then. Because they love my show and they agree with me way more than they agree with you. And they're pissed off. And they'll follow me into battle. So you better be real careful. You're barking up the wrong tree with that.
Nick Fuentes wants a civil war on the right. Now, and there's so many vile clips you could pull from him. I don't know if they might get us hit on YouTube to where we're not doing good in the algorithm, but he doesn't think women should be voting. He thinks that all black people should be in jail, with a few exceptions, he said. He's very against
all black people.
He said black people should be in jail for the most part, or he said something like that. This was just recently. He doesn't seem to like the state of Israel at all, but he takes it a step further where he pretty much doesn't seem to like Jewish people at all. He's said before that he's a Nazi. Like there's clips of him saying I'm a Nazi. So it's kind of weird now that he's getting very upset that they're calling him a Nazi. But he's not wrong.
And his followers are called groypers, right?
They are groypers. So,
okay. And what is that? What is a groyper? Like, what's the?
It started with a gaming thing, and I don't even know anything about it. But from what I've learned recently, his audience was the groypers, but now his audience, like there is still the groypers, but then there's still just a lot of right-wing people that have just ventured on over to him, and they're not really a groyper, but they're listening to him, and they must be liking what they're hearing because they're coming back. He's got him, Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are all three in the top 5 of right-wing podcasts. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the three of them combined are getting a lot of views on the right-wing, podcast sphere. It's not He's not wrong when he said he has 1 million followers that are on his side. Like, he's got it easily. So
Dang.
I'm digging this. One of the people that he really, really, really hates is JD Vance. He dislikes
Me
JD
too.
for a lot of reasons, and he's very open that his main complaint is that he's a race traitor. He married outside his race, he married outside his religion, and he has two little half brown kids. And Nick Fuentes, like, if JD tries to be the nominee, which he's gonna, like, Nick Fuentes is gonna use all of his power to try to sink JD Vance. Okay, and like,
I think he needs to be thrown in jail.
who, Fuentes?
Yeah.
No, let's keep him around because he might be helpful in the next election or two. Like,
He's so racist.
oh, he's terrible. Yeah, he's god awful.
He's a terrible human being.
Which Tucker Carlson just had him on for like an hour and a half on his podcast, and Tucker was like the biggest softball interview ever. There's so many things where you could be like, "Hey, man, you said this. Care to explain?" And Tucker just he let him kind of, like, same way that Rogan let Trump come on and just kind of let him seem to be a very sane and reasonable person. That's what Tucker did with Fuentes. So anyhow, that happened. What's funny is, and this all started with Nick Fuentes, but have you heard all these salacious and unproven rumors about JD Vance and Erica Kirk?
I have.
Okay, so there's a lot of people that think that it's only a matter of time until they're A, humping, and B, JD leaves his wife for Erica Kirk. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I just think it's hysterical that there's a decent portion of the right. And let's say that there's 2 million people in the Fuentes army, okay? I think that's probably overselling it, but let's say there's 2 million. Bottom line is there's 37 million, like, MAGA, hard MAGA, and 75 to 80 million that are going to vote for Trump. So 2 million's a small percentage of that. Very, very small of the overall. But 2 million's enough to cause a margin where a Democrat gets a victory. So it's enough to pay attention to, is all I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yeah.
And I will say, at first, the whole, like, JD leaving his wife, Usha, who seems to be a decent woman. I don't know a lot about her, but, she seems sweet. I will say, based off pictures, and people can do a lot of stuff with editing and, changing colors and whatnot, she seems to have aged about 10 years in these 9 months. Like, the pictures of her just before the election versus the picture of her now, she has aged quite a bit. She's let herself go a little bit. She's got the grays. She doesn't look happy. I haven't seen a single picture of her smiling in the last several months. You got to imagine, with all the stuff JD's going through, it's probably not awesome being married to the vice president, especially when he's a divisive vice president. So life probably is stressful right now.
Yeah, because JD's kind of taken on the role of bad guy.
He's the attack dog for Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to imagine she's hearing about it from family, or she's an immigrant. She's a Hindu. Like, I don't understand how their relationship works, but also it's none of my business. Like, it's if they're making it work, then more power to them.
But she got to know what she got herself into. The dude has 3 different names. He's on his 3rd name.
And he killed the Pope. Let's not forget he killed the Pope.
Oh, I forgot he killed the Pope.
Allegedly.
Oh my God.
I'm not saying he killed the Pope. I'm just saying that the Pope met him and decided the next day that he didn't want to live. That's all I know for sure. That's all I can say for sure on this.
He was the last person to take a meeting with the Pope.
He was. But back to JD and Erica. I heard these rumors and I kind of got a kick out of it. But I got to tell you, like, they're almost playing into it now. Like, there was an event, I think, in the past week where Erica Kirk was speaking on stage, and she was crying and saying, "There's nobody that can take the place of my husband, but there is one man that I think," and she went on to give this glowing speech about how awesome JD was. And then JD comes out onto the stage and they hugged. And we can both agree there's a very specific way you hug a woman that is not your wife or girlfriend, or maybe is your friend's wife or girlfriend. You know the hug I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, kind of ass out, like
there's kind of a pat on the back,
Yeah.
and you make sure to get the pelvises away from each other. Like, that's the hug you give. The hug they gave was not that way. Like, and they stood there for a second, and he had his hands on her hips, and she had her arms like over his shoulder, and like they kind of just like looked at each other, and then they went in for a deeper hug, and she like got her hand in the back of his head in the hair and like pulled him in close. It was a sensual hug, is all I'm going to say. Like when I saw it, I was like, whoa, like you're not doing anything to dispel all these rumors about y'all being a couple.
What is MAGA saying about this? Like, do they want him to get rid of his wife and move on to Charlie Kirk's wife, or are they kind of like, ooh, like I'm staying out of that?
In the moment, I don't think that they necessarily want him to, but I think if he did, they would not be upset about it. And if he ended up with Erica Kirk, in the long run, his approval would be much higher than it is now.
Oh God.
Yeah. Him and I hate to say this, but him and Erica Kirk would be a power couple. Like he would definitely be president in that situation. Like 100% sure.
And interesting. And he's a grifter, so that's his move, is to get with Erica Kirk. And
so again, I don't.
But it's too soon. It's too soon.
I don't think this is going to happen. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that do think it's going to happen, and then also like when you just see them together, like it seems a little believable. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's fun that there's a lot of people that think that. So getting a kick out of it. Anyhow, and then the other MAGA love story I'd like to talk about tonight. Are you familiar with Kash Patel and who his girlfriend is?
Not really.
So she is a country music singer and is also Israeli. She is Jewish, Israeli born, lives in America, and somehow that's a weird combination. An Israeli born country music singer, which, you know what, I'm going to backtrack. I don't know that she was born in Israel. I think her parents were born in Israel. I'm not sure if she was or not. I feel like that's an important part of this story.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you think she's a Israeli plant?
There are people that think she's a honeypot.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Here we go. That. AI to the rescue again.
And she's supposed to be really hot too, right?
So she is not bad. She's not my type. She's petite, dark skin, dark hair, but a lot of people think she's hot. She was born in America. She spent time in England and Switzerland. Currently based in Nashville. But she's Jewish and her parents were born in Israel, from what I understand.
Yeah,
so I'm glad
she's way hotter than Cockeye Cash. That's for sure.
Well, she's like 20 years younger than him too. So it makes no sense unless like the whole she's a honeypot, and like for a long time he was just borderline pro-Israel. Like it's kind of the MAGA thing was to be pro-Israel, so he was too. Sure. Then he started dating her, and now he is very Israel first, like everything he says. So
yeah. So weird. Israel first, huh? The Dark Force first.
It seems weird. So he got in trouble a week or so ago. He keeps getting in trouble because he keeps taking the FBI plane, like his FBI jet, to like Vegas for UFC fights and weird stuff like this. He got in trouble because he flew from D.C. to a town called State College, Pennsylvania, to watch her sing the national anthem at a wrestling event. And in case you're wondering, it wasn't WWE or WWF. It was like a local wrestling event. I don't think his girlfriend has any big hits. But this event was not a big deal. But he flew the private jet there to watch her sing, then flew her home from Pennsylvania to Nashville on the private jet, and then flew himself back to D.C. So all on the taxpayer dime, he's making this little trip on a Friday night. It got out. There is a guy named Kyle Seraphin. He is a former FBI agent that apparently was an FBI agent for a long time, and from what I can tell, is still connected to people inside the building. He gets a lot of good scoops. He hates Kash Patel, and I think he loves being a thorn in Kash Patel's side. Like anytime Kash Patel screws up, he's quick to write a deal about it. And anyhow, Kash Patel does not like this guy. Also, it should be noted, Kash Patel's girlfriend is suing him because he said that she is Mossad and a honeypot, and so that's why I'd like to say allegedly on all the things. But yeah, so he's being sued because he wrote an article basically saying clearly she is an Israeli agent honeypotting him, is what he said. She's suing him over that. Anyhow, all the plane using stuff. It's like, remember when Trump was during the first time Trump ran in 2015, he kept talking about how much golf Obama had played. And he said, if I'm president, I'll never play golf because I'll be too busy working every day for the American people. And then he got in office. He in 4 years, he played more golf than Obama played in 8 years. So like, it's kind of like if he just went out golfing, that'd be one thing, but the hypocrisy of the fact that he said he definitely wouldn't be golfing. So let's see if Kash Patel was a hypocrite in this situation also.
And I'm not saying take all their funding. I'm not the defund everything guy. I'm just saying Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off. Just a thought.
Minimum. Does he have a pin that says cash on it?
Yes. So, and he actually made a challenge pin or something like that, a challenge coin that's like, it's like the Punisher logo and it says cash. And like in the FBI, if you do something good, you get one of these challenge coins from Cash that have his name on it. It's really, it's an odd, I think the Army does stuff like that with challenge coins or whatever. Cash figured that should be in the FBI and it should also have his name on it because he's all about himself. But anyhow, so here he is saying he's bitching about the previous FBI director using the the private jet for personal reasons, and now he's been doing it nonstop. Like every weekend, he's flying to see his girlfriend on the FBI jet, and we're paying for that shit. Just so you know. So.
Didn't they just buy 2 new jets for?
They bought one for Christy Noam, and I can't remember who I can't remember who the other one was for, but it was 2 like cabinet secretary people. They bought them both G5s, so they got to be able to get around, man. Yeah. Anyhow,
so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. And yes, it is so hypocritical of them because I remember when Pete Buttigieg flew, him and his husband went to, and it was like a normal thing that like Michelle Obama had done before. And like before that, it was Trump's wife went to the one before that.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was, but I know what you're talking about. And then after that, Pete famously started flying commercial after that and flying coach commercial just to like prove a point. Because then there were photos for like the rest of Biden's presidency of like, holy shit, I'm sitting in coach and Pete Buttigieg is 1 row over from me. And it was just like a picture of Pete like, hi. Like, so good on Pete. Awesome. But let's get back to Cash's girlfriend for a second. Because when I saw all this, I was I've heard before she's Israeli or she's Jewish. She's a country singer. She's 20 years older than Cash. Like, so I didn't know a lot about her. So I kind of wanted to go through and figure out who is this woman. What I found out was kind of weird. She's been giving interviews on Newsmax and OAN. What possibly would Kash Patel's girlfriend have to talk about on the news, you might ask?
Secrets that he's telling her in bed?
Maybe. Like, I feel like the only thing she's qualified to tell us about anything is like what it's like to blow Kash Patel. Like that's something that I think she probably has experience with. And if she has tips for the trade, like let's hear it. But other than that, like what are we listening to her for? Here, let's check out a clip of her on OAN.
You and I have talked about the border before. I don't think an American out there, unless there's some wacko lefty, could ever even lie or try to change the story. Joe left it open 4 years. Millions came in. Now thousands that want to do us harm are living amongst us. And thank goodness for Kash and the FBI stopping this one this weekend. But there's going to be more.
Absolutely. You know, this is the thing that we knew would happen with the Biden administration, keeping the borders open, not protecting our homeland, is we knew that we would get illegal immigrants coming in, you know, by the hundreds of thousands. I mean, quite literally, those are the numbers. Committing violent crimes against American citizens, doing these horrible things that we see just ever so casually now, unfortunately, in the news. Of course, President Trump and his administration is cleaning up the streets, but that's even one thing. But the thing that I think gets a little bit to be a footnote is the fact that there are sleeper cells here that are planning these horrible attacks, these ISIS-style attacks like we saw thwarted in Michigan this morning. And, you know, this is the stuff that would have just been carried out under the Biden administration. And the fact that the Trump administration and everyone at the leadership level of these organizations are trying to fix it is exactly what we voted for.
Did you see all the coins in the background?
I didn't.
She's got a bunch of coins in the background. How do you bet those are Kash Patel coins?
Challenge
every
coins.
time she gives him a blowjob, she gets a coin.
I think you're right. Real quick, in all seriousness, the FBI director's country singer girlfriend is on the news talking to us about border security and sleeper cells in America. Like, what? Okay,
what does she know?
Okay, so is Kash Patel like bringing her along to briefings? Is he sitting down at night and busting out the old laptop and showing her like stuff that is, or what I think is more likely is he flying in the private jet and he gets there and he's like, oh baby, I'm so tired. I've been dealing with all these sleeper cells all day. A good blowjob would be nice right now. Like, or something like that. Like, I think that's more realistic, is that he's trying to get laid.
But if she's a honeypot, she's probably prying a little bit. She's questioning. She's looking over his shoulder when he's on his laptop.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know. He doesn't care. He's just
or she's rocking his world, and when he falls asleep, she slides out of bed and goes to the laptop and hops on, and she's downloading everything onto a thumb drive and sending. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can see that.
I want to say for the record, allegedly, she's suing somebody else for saying this. So allegedly, yeah,
she's a honeypot
allegedly,
for the Israeli government.
I'm so curious what the relationship is for all this. Like, how does she end up on OAN or Newsmax? Like, did they contact her and set up an interview? Did she contact them? Did Kash say, like, hey, do me a solid. Can you get my girl on to talk about border security and sleeper cells in America? Like,
makes no sense.
It makes no sense. Why? I'm just curious about all this. I don't understand it. Also, nobody's put this together yet, but what, not that it matters to any of us except for the Nick Fuentes Groyper people, what is Kash Patel's ethnicity? Like, is he Indian? I feel like he's Indian.
I don't know.
They hate JD Vance because of his Indian wife, but I've not heard any of them talk about Kash Patel, like, at all. That doesn't make sense.
You're right. Yeah, I wonder. He's Indian. Yeah, Indian. Gujarati.
What is his religion? Because
what's that?
What is his religion? See, figure that out.
He was raised Hindu.
Is he still Hindu, or did he convert?
Let's see.
Because maybe that's the key. Maybe if Usha Vance converted, then they'd be cool with her.
Apparently, Vance is trying to convert her.
I saw a clip where he basically said, now, would I say that I would be happy if she eventually saw the light and converted? Of course I would. But if she doesn't want to, she doesn't have to, or something along those lines.
He is a devout Hindu and has expressed respect for people of all faiths.
I'm confused as to why the same people that hate Usha should hate Kash, theoretically, right?
I think so.
He's not in the barrel at all. They're not talking about him that I've seen at all. Maybe I'm just not seeing it.
I think if you have unwavering loyalty to Donald Trump, you're in the pot.
So maybe they're questioning whether Usha really has loyalty or not. Maybe that's what it is.
I think that, yeah. She hasn't expressed her loyalty yet.
We don't have video of her talking about how great Trump is. So that maybe that's what needs to happen. Honey, either I need you to do this, or I'm going to have to divorce you and go marry Erica Kirk. Maybe that's the conversation that's going to be had here very soon.
Now, what if Mondami comes out and says that he has undying loyalty to Trump? Do you think they would all flip to the socialist?
Actually,
the communist.
I gotta say, well,
it could be a move. We all just do it, and then we could get everything we want passed.
The whole socialism and communism thing, though, is still so dumb because, like, let's look at in American history, in all of American history, going back to 1776. There's one president that's done several socialist type things, and that's Donald Trump. Like, all the different pieces of different companies that he's taking, like, that's the most socialist thing we've done, where we've had a president do ever. And Trump's doing it while at the same time being like, they're a socialist. And it's like, dude, look at what you're doing here. Anyhow.
Well, let's look at every socialist program that we've ever put in place. That is, and all of them are highly respected, highly loved, right? And that's like our roads, our firefighters, our police department, our SNAP benefits.
You're missing one that I think the right would say is a failure, and that's public schools. The right is trying to kill public schools right now. So
yeah, but privatizing schools is going to work out way worse for people because you're going to have so many
if you're
crazy
rich,
things coming out of these private schools.
If you're rich, it'll work out just fine for you. They'll get a great education. If you're poor, then good luck.
Good luck. Yeah, exactly.
Anyhow, that's all I got. I like the whole Erica Kirk and JD Vance thing. Like I said, I don't believe it, but I kind of hope that this rumor keeps going because it's funny for me. So I want to see this keep going. And I think we should all see more of Kash Patel's girlfriend. I want her to start showing up on all the channels.
Yeah.
Speaking of a crazy lady showing up on all the channels, Marge has not stopped. Marge was on The View on Wednesday and got along with all the Democrats on The View. Like, they were all laughing and having a good time. She's been on CNN twice in the last 2 days. She was on with Wolf Blitzer the other day, and she was making so much sense. It was ridiculous. And he was even like trying to get her to kind of talk crap about Trump. And she was being very careful to be like, well, I'm a big supporter of the president, but I think he's being led in the wrong direction by people around him right now, and this and that. And like, the more Marge talks, the more awesome she seems. I'm just telling you right now. Like,
she's a grifter. That's the thing. Is she went one way and then she wants something different, so she goes the other way.
Dude.
And just like JD Vance changes his name 3 times, and like Donald Trump's telling people, you know, what they want to hear in every scenario. Like, they're all just grifters, and it's frustrating.
So 2 things on that. Telling people what they want to hear. Rogan had Elon on like 2 days ago, and I've only seen clips of it. But one of the clips, because Rogan has talked, like he had Andrew Schultz on, and they were both kind of talking good about Mamdani. Like, Rogan is Mamdani curious, I think. I wouldn't say he's a supporter, but he's curious. Okay. And I think Elon said something about Mamdani being a, what did he call him? It wasn't a grifter. So Rogan asked him, he was like, well, what makes Mamdani a swindler? Because I think Elon had said that he was a swindler. And he asked him point blank, well, what's he doing that makes him a swindler? And Elon kind of froze, and he was like, well, you know, and then he finally goes, well, you know, if you're someone who just tells people what they want to hear, I think that makes you a swindler. And like, that was his only example of Mamdani being a swindler. And like, okay, I think that he might do that. But you know who else does that? Every politician. Like, if you're saying that Mamdani is some exceptional swindler compared to the rest of Congress, like, kiss my ass. Sure. Also, back to Marge real quick. On The View, they asked her about QAnon. Like, at the beginning, they were trying to pin her down on like, hey, but you said you believed in QAnon. And like, she had an answer for everything. And like I said, by the end, she turned them all into being friends with her. But when they asked her about QAnon, she was like, yeah, I, like so many other people, fell victim to, you know, fake stuff on the internet and this and that. And it's a real problem in our society. And like, it was a good answer. It was an answer you could tell she had workshopped. She'd kind of practiced it and found the holes in it and tightened it up. She had a good answer for that.
Wow. How long has she been working on this?
Ever since Trump told her she's not allowed to run for Senate. Like, that was the moment.
When was that?
That was at the beginning of the summer, I believe. She said she apparently, this was not out in the open, but apparently she said she wanted to run for Senate in Georgia, and Trump and the White House told her, no, you are not electable statewide. Like, you are too crazy and far right. Like, you're safe in your reliably red district, but you could never win a statewide race. So if you try it, we're not going to support you. Like, we're supporting somebody else for this. And according to a lot of people, at that moment, she got pissed and said, okay, I'll show you electable statewide. And she rebranded quickly, and she's doing a great job of it.
I am not going to hold my breath until she starts voting with the Democrats.
No, she's never going to vote with the Democrats. That's not what she's saying she's going to do. She's just putting herself out there as the most reasonable Republican out there right now. And like, it's like I said, it's believable. It's really weird. Like, even me knowing all the crazy shit, like, Nancy Pelosi announced her retirement yesterday. Not really anything we need to talk about, but Nancy's not going to seek re-election. She's on with Marjorie's on with Wolf Blitzer, and Wolf asked her about it. And she goes, "Oh, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she's had such a remarkable career, and you know the nation owes her a debt of gratitude, and all this stuff." When in 2020 on tape. Marjorie said that Nancy Pelosi is a traitor to the nation and should be prosecuted for betraying America and all kinds of crazy shit like that. And it's like, now she's on here saying like what a great patriot Nancy Pelosi is and how much good things she did for women and for the country. And like, and Wolf was just like, he was like smiling as she was talking about it. She's winning people over with her charm. Like, it's very weird. Like, there's a part of me that watching that I was like, Wolf, bring up the time where she said Nancy Pelosi's a traitor. Like, just bring that up. And he didn't. He was just.
Yeah, I want to hear her answer to that one because.
I'll bet she has an answer ready.
I don't trust it. I just don't trust it, Andy.
Oh, no. She's a snake. For real.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that she's doing such a good job. Because normally, for a crazy person to pretend to be normal, that's hard to do. Like, it's not something easy to do. And she is pretending to be normal as shit, and she's doing it very well. Crazy. It's weird.
Grifters.
Yeah. Grifter's gonna grift, buddy. So
Grifter's gonna grift.
All right. That's all I got. You got anything to end on?
That's it, man.
Oh, let's get into this more next time. But Nancy Mace is now suing the airport that supposedly did her so wrong. And it's several people in Congress and the Senate are saying anonymously that they're all worried about her because she's clearly having a mental episode. And then Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott, the two senators from her state, came out and flat out were like, we're not on her side. Like, please do not use our names in this. We stand with the airport and the local police. Like, so nobody's on her side. And she seems to be deteriorating by the day, where she's doing crazier and crazier shit. So
Nancy
I'm gonna have
Mason's
some.
the craziest person in the Senate right now.
She is right now. I'm gonna have some clips for us next time because she loves to do like the walk and talk selfies where she's talking into the camera. So be ready for next time on that. So
all right, heck yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Later.
All right, later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.